You meet a woman who seems amazing at first. Smart, beautiful, confident. But then you start to see it. The subtle put-downs, the way she talks over you, the constant need to be right, to be the center of attention, to make you feel like you're just lucky to be in her presence. It's her ego. It's a wall between you. And it's exhausting. You start to feel small. You feel like you're constantly auditioning for a role you never wanted. You might think the solution is to fight it head on, to argue, to prove her wrong, to out-ego her ego. That never works. It just creates more conflict. So you do the opposite. You shrink. You become quieter. You let her win every argument just to keep the peace. But that doesn't work either. It just makes the ego grow bigger because it's winning. You feel trapped. Do you fight and lose, or submit and disappear? There's a third way, a smarter way. You don't fight the ego. You don't feed it. You understand it. And when you understand what an ego really is, a fragile shield, not a weapon, you realize how to dissolve its power completely. Not with cruelty, but with calm, unshakable clarity. I'm Alex Reed, behavioral analyst. This is Inner Plan. If you're tired of walking on eggshells around a woman's inflated ego and want to learn how to regain your footing and your peace, you're in the right place. Hit like and subscribe right now. What I'm about to share isn't about winning. It's about disarming a dynamic that drains you. Most men believe a big ego is about strength. They think a woman with a huge ego is just confident or has high self-esteem. This is a critical misunderstanding. Real confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to prove itself. An inflated ego is loud. It's insecurity dressed up as superiority. It's a performance. And like any performance, it needs an audience. It needs your reaction, your anger, your hurt, your submission to feel powerful. When you stop providing that reaction, the performance falls apart. The ego has nothing to push against. Today, I'm breaking down the 3 types of female ego you'll encounter, and the exact calm protocol to handle each one. I call this the ego dissolution framework. It's not about destroying her. It's about refusing to be destroyed by her need to feel above you. Let's start with the first type. This ego is all about proving worth. You'll see it with the woman who constantly name drops. She talks about her important job, her fancy friends, the expensive places she goes. Every story is a humble brag. She's in a constant state of comparison. If you talk about your hike, she talks about her trek to Machu Picchu. If you mention a nice restaurant, she's been to a better one. Her conversation is a resume she's constantly updating in front of you. Meet John and Chloe. They're on a date. John mentions he's learning to play guitar. Chloe immediately says, "Oh, that's cute. My ex was a studio musician. He played with some huge names. I guess I'm just used to a higher caliber." John feels instantly deflated. His new hobby feels stupid. He's just been compared and found lacking. Chloe's ego needed to position itself above him to feel secure. The signs you're dealing with a performance ego. 1. One-upmanship. Every story of yours is met with a better story of hers. 2. Label obsession. She values the brand, the title, the status symbol more than the experience. 3. Backhanded compliments. You're pretty smart for a guy who didn't go to an Ivy League. 4. She's always the expert. Even on topics you know well, she'll explain them to you. The common male mistake is to either compete or collapse. You either try to match her stories, which turns the date into a rivalry, or you shut down and feel inferior. Both feed her ego. Competition gives it a worthy opponent. Collapse gives it a conquered subject. Your protocol is called the neutral ground method. You do not compete. You do not compliment the bragging. You become profoundly uninterested in the performance. Step 1. Acknowledge, do not admire. When she name drops or one-ups, give a neutral, factual response. She says, "My friend is a senior VP at Tesla." You say, "That's a role with a lot of responsibility," instead of, "Wow, that's amazing." You're acknowledging the fact, not worshiping the status. Step 2. Pivot to the personal. Immediately steer the conversation away from achievements and into feelings or ordinary experiences. After her Tesla friend comment, you ask, "So, does he enjoy the work, or is it just constant stress?" Or, "Sounds intense. What's something you do just for pure silly fun?" This bypasses the ego's need to showcase and connects to the person behind it. Step 3. The unimpressed stare. Maintain calm, steady eye contact when she boasts. Don't look angry. Don't look impressed. Just look interested, but unmoved, like you're watching a moderately interesting documentary. Your lack of the desired reaction, awe or defeat, will confuse her ego. This works because the performance ego runs on your validation. When you stop supplying the wow, it sputters. You stop being her audience and become a fellow human having a conversation. She either adapts to that level or she leaves to find a more easily impressed crowd. You win your piece either way. Now, the second type, the corrective ego. This ego is about being right. It's the know-it-all, the nitpicker, the well-actually woman. She corrects your grammar. She disputes small facts in your stories. She interrupts you to make sure you have the details right. Her sense of self is tied to her perceived intellectual superiority. Being right makes her feel in control. Making you wrong makes her feel safe. Picture David and Sophia. They're discussing a movie. David says, "I love the cinematography in that French film." Sophia cuts in, "It was Belgian, actually. The director is Flemish, not French. And the cinematographer used a very specific type of lens." David's enjoyment of the conversation evaporates. He wasn't making a scholarly argument. He was sharing a feeling. But Sophia's ego needed to correct him to position itself on higher ground. Signs of the corrective ego. 1. Frequent interruptions, to correct or clarify your points. 2. Nitpicking, focusing on tiny errors in your stories instead of the story itself. 3. Source mentality, treats casual conversation like a debate club, demanding evidence for opinions. 4. Inability to let things go. She'll circle back to a minor point she won hours later. The common mistake is to engage in the debate. You start fact-checking your own stories. You get defensive. You say, "Well, I read that once," and now you're in a research paper war. You are playing her game on her field. You will always lose, because she cares more about winning the point than connecting with you. Your protocol is the agreement and release tactic. You disarm her by refusing to make anything a contest. Step 1. The instant casual agreement. When she corrects something minor, immediately agree. Don't defend. Say, "You're probably right," or "Good catch." Say it with a light, almost bored tone, like it's the least important thing in the world. Step 2. Expose the motive with a question. After you agree, gently question the purpose of the correction. Use this exact script. "That's interesting that you pointed that out. Is knowing that detail important for what we're talking about, or was it just a side note?" This forces her to justify her interruption. Usually, she'll flounder. "Well, it's important to be accurate." You've just highlighted that her need to be right outweighed the flow of human connection. Step 3. The silent return. After the exchange, return to your original point as if the interruption never happened. "Anyway, as I was saying, I loved the feeling of the movie." This demonstrates that her correction was irrelevant to the real conversation. You are the steady river. Her ego is a pebble you simply flow around. This works because the corrective ego needs the fight. It needs you to resist so it can exert its power. When you instantly agree, you take away the conflict. When you question the purpose, you expose the insecurity behind the behavior. You remain unrattled and in control of the conversation's depth. She either drops the act or she looks foolish correcting someone who couldn't care less. Finally, the third type, the dramatic ego. This ego is centered on being the victim, the center of the emotional universe. Every problem is a catastrophe. Every minor setback is a personal tragedy. Her feelings are the biggest, most important feelings in the room, and it's your job to manage them. This ego uses emotional storms to control the environment and ensure all attention, energy, and care flows in one direction, toward her. Consider Mark and Lena. Mark has had a genuinely tough day. A big project at work failed. He starts to tell Lena. Within 2 minutes, she's crying. "I just feel so helpless when you're stressed. It makes me so anxious. Now I'm going to be up all night worrying. Why does this always happen to us?" Mark's problem is now about her feelings. He ends up comforting her about his bad day. Her dramatic reaction has hijacked the situation. Signs of the dramatic ego. 1. Emotional hijacking. Your experiences quickly become about her emotional response to them. 2. Catastrophizing. A small issue becomes the worst thing ever. 3. The worse than game. If you're tired, she's exhausted. If you're stressed, she's overwhelmed. 4. Guilt as a tool. If you really cared, you'd see how much this hurts me. The common mistake is the rescue mission. You drop everything to soothe her. You apologize for causing her distress, even when you didn't. You become her emotional caretaker. This rewards the drama with attention and confirms that her big feelings are the priority. The cycle gets worse. Your protocol is the calm container method. You do not join the storm. You become the calm, immovable ground it breaks against. Step 1. Validate. Do not inflate. Acknowledge the feeling without amplifying the drama. She says, "This is a disaster. I can't believe this is happening to me." You say calmly, "I can see you're really upset about this." Not, "Oh my God, you're right. It's terrible." You are a mirror, not a megaphone. Step 2. Refocus on solution, hers. Ask a simple, grounding question. What's your plan to handle it? Or what's the first step to making this better? This forces the emotional energy into a practical channel. It hands the problem and the responsibility for managing her feelings about it back to her. Step 3. Hold the boundary of your own energy. If she continues to spiral, you state your boundary calmly. "I want to support you, but I can't do that from inside the panic. I'm going to give you some space to work through this, and we can talk when things feel more calm." Then, you physically or emotionally step back. You do not argue. You do not beg. This works because the dramatic ego feeds on the chaotic energy it creates in others. Your calmness is a dead zone for that fuel. By refusing to panic with her, by asking for a plan, you reveal that the drama is a choice. You offer support, but not your sanity as a sacrifice. She must learn to regulate herself, or she will drain everyone around her. You choose not to be drained. Let's put this all together. The ego dissolution framework. You don't fight fire with fire. You recognize the type of ego fire you're facing, and you use the correct extinguisher. For the performance ego that needs to be impressive, you use the neutral ground method. Don't be impressed. Be neutral. Pivot to the personal. For the corrective ego that needs to be right, you use the agreement and release tactic. Don't debate. Agree casually, question the purpose, and move on. For the dramatic ego that needs to be the center of a storm, you use the calm container method. Don't join the chaos. Validate calmly, refocus on solutions, and protect your energy. This isn't about destroying a woman. It's about protecting yourself from behaviors that destroy connection and peace. When you stop feeding the ego with the reactions it craves, awe, argument, or anxious care, it loses its power over you. You remain centered. You keep your peace. And in that calm space, a real connection might actually become possible. Or you clearly see that it's not, and you walk away with your dignity intact. Now, think about a woman in your life, past or present. Which ego did you struggle with the most? Was it the need to be impressive, performance, the need to be right, corrective, or the need to be the center of drama, dramatic? Comment performance, corrective, or dramatic below. I read every comment and will share more insight. If this framework gave you a new way to handle a draining situation, hit the like button right now. It truly helps. Subscribe to Inner Plan. Next week, we're diving into a related trap: when she plays the victim. How to spot perpetual victimhood and the one response that breaks the cycle for good. I'm Alex Reed. Lead with understanding.